Okay, okay, we should be back. We should be back. I'm severely frustrated. Chat, I am extremely severely frustrated. Let's hope nobody in chat says something to piss me off because I'm gonna rain hellfire on somebody. Let me see someone push the St. Charles agenda. I'm raining hellfire on them. I'm raining hellfire on them, chat. We lost all of our likes. We lost all of the viewers. We were on a roll. We were cooking perfect theories. It was going spectacular. And then it just all, it poofed away. So, guys, we're going to take this on the chin. All right. We're going to take this on the chin. We're gonna suck it up. Pause. Major pause. We're gonna suck it up. We're gonna get over it. We're here to start brand new. All right, we're on a new vibe. Okay, we're gonna get back to this. Okay. Truthfully, I don't even remember where we left off, but I do know, guys, that I did get through all the super chats, and I got through all the donations. I got through them all before we crashed. So at least we have that, right? At least we have that. And I still have the I don't know what to call it for you guys. It's called like my alert screen. I have my alert screen so I could see like all the donations from before, all the super chats. I could see all that, so don't worry. And if you guys super chatted and donated, you probably heard my response anyways. Basically, basically all I can say, guys, is that we have to wonder why the Saint Bliss.
L tipped $3.33. It's on site with Emu.
It's on site with Emu, bro. It's on site with Emu. Let me show you what Emu looks like, bro. Let me show you what Emu looks like. It's on site. Let me show you. Shout out to L. Thank you, brother, for the 333. God bless you, brother. Thank you. You want to know what this boy Emu looks like? Let me show you what Emu looks like, because Emu's not some hot Jezebel. Emu is some ugly, disgusting, vile monstrosity. It's not even a person. Emu's the combination of a fat, ugly Blackbeard with Shanks sitting on his shoulders. This is Emu. It's on site with Emu. Emu isn't even a... Emu's a fake girl. Fake woman. Trainee. Chat, are we allowed to say that word on YouTube? Oh, no. I meant trainee. Like, Emu trains. Emu trains, like, leadership skills. Like, Emu trains in the gym, you know? He's training. That's what I meant. It's on state with Emu. Alright, guys. We got to get through this chapter, though. Uh-oh, I'm in big trouble. I'm very late. I'm very late. So we honestly, how long did we sit at this? We sat at this for a long time. I think it's time we move on. Like, we spent like a whole hour on this double page. This double page right here, we spent like a whole hour on. Can you stop insulting my wife? She already Lelucia did 2 streams. Really? Your wife Lelucia these streams? You better get a divorce. Who grabs my entire room, sofa included? I mean, really? So this is the land of the giants. It's huge. We only needed one. Why are the 2 of you here? Because you're going back, Commander. I am. Orders from above. Ah, so that's the deal. Yes, the situation in the Holy Land is rather dire. It's all gone wrong ever since the Reverie. Your presence there will be a benefit, Shamrock. So what's the situation and mission? What were you doing in this unaffiliated country? Paying a visit to Harold's grave? Oh, you know what? I think this is sarcasm. I think this is sarcasm. I don't think this is like them showing love and respect to Harold, because I saw people saying like, oh, they were talking about visiting Harold's grave because they like Harold. They were friends with Harold, so Harold sold out Elbaf to team up with the Holy Knights, to team up with Marijwa and the Celestial Dragons. I'm taking this as like a backhanded remark. Like these guys are like talking smack. They're saying, "Oh, what are you doing here? What are we doing here? Paying a visit to Harold's grave?" It's like sarcasm. Okay, got it. You want us to kidnap some kids and take them to the Holy Land? They're too big to stuff into sacks, though. But those without the mark cannot travel through the abyss pentagrams. Okay, so interesting. Interesting. OP scans in TCB both translated it as abyss, but Viz calls it abyss pentagrams. And like they italicize and bold the word abyss, but they do add pentagrams because I'm pretty sure the TCB and the OP scans they only put abyss. So, like that's what I was wondering, like because apparently the kanji for abyss is the same kanji for pentagram. So I was wondering why didn't they just put pentagrams? Like they're traveling through the pentagram. It's literally a pen. There's more of a pentagram design than an abyss design. That means we'll have to sail them back, ZZZZ. Why, you? With your powers, you can make it into a game. And that's about it. That's about it. This dude is a decorated general. This guy's a decorated general. Jupiter was like, nah, I'm gonna be a Gorsei member. I'm gonna get into the politics. And the Holy Knight Summers was like, nah, I don't want to get into the politics of the Gorsei. I want to be a knight. I want to be a holy knight. Maybe that's what it is. Vincent says also, isn't King Harold's sword in Ja Rule's head? Isn't King Harold's sword in Ja Rule's head? I thought it was Loki that attacked Ja Rule. Or am I mixing it up? Did Loki attack Ja Rule with his father's sword? Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even know what chapter that was. I think it was like 2 or 3 chapters ago. Interesting. So does anyone want to do open mic? That's the question. If you guys want to do open mic, let me know right now, guys. Let me know in the stream chat. I mean, we lost all of our viewers, bro. The viewership is completely gone. If you guys do want to do the open mic, !Discord, you guys should hop into my server and I'll pull you guys into the voice channel, all right? We could start with our boy Smokey. So Smokey, if you want to hop into the open mic, bro, just hop into the Discord, join the backstage room. And guys, don't forget to like the stream. We lost all of our likes, guys. If we could get at least, I don't know, what were we at? Like 40 likes? I think we were at 39 likes. If we could somehow hit 40 likes, that'd be great. We lost all of our likes. Twice we lost them all. So please do that for me, chat. And welcome in young Smokey.
Yo, what's up?
What's good?
Yo, man, I can't wait to talk about that SBS. You know I've been waiting for it.
You've been waiting for it, and the streets have been waiting for it. What is this SBS volume that you've been hyping up all stream that's supposed to give us a mind-blowing conclusion? You got to tell us.
All right, so let me set the table. Go to chapter 1069, page 7 with Lucci.
You said chapter what?
1069 with Lucci, page 7.
Okay, chapter 1069, nice. Page 7?
Yes.
Okay, and look at Lucci. All right, let's start there, guys. You guys are going to love this take from Smokey, all right? You guys are going to love this. So chapter 1069, page 7, which is right here, okay? So we got Lucci, okay?
All right, you see the text box for the announcer? Go down a little bit. Scroll down.
Awaken
Cat
form.
fruit, awaken form. So if we do not see that text box, we cannot conclude any of these zones that are introduced are awakened. I can test that the only awakened zones that we have seen are Lucci and Luffy. Kaido and Yamato, which ties back to SBS 110, where Oda drew Yamato as a child with the Hagoromo, which is white, which will tie into your nature argument, which I like, is not awakened. How is a
Ooh.
child awakened? She's a mythical, but she's not awakened. Kaido is a mythical, but he's not awakened.
But then
And this
Lucci
could
isn't mythical.
no, he's not, but he's awakened.
Hmm. So we have to find the common denominator here because Lucci, he didn't have flames until what is the common denominator? Because Lucci never had flames until he awakened, but he's not mythical.
Support your nature point. Let me support your nature point here. You said Black Hagoromo, evil, morally gray, whatever you want to call it. Lucci is a asshole. He's got the Black Hagoromo, and he's got the awakened text box. So we have two pieces of evidence for Lucci.
True. I mean, he only walks around with killing intent. Lucci's entire personality in Water 7 and Enies Lobby is I want to kill.
Exactly. He was raised from an assassin from an early age. He killed how many people were in that room that he was locked up in?
Bro,
that
it was
he
like
got
50
through.
people.
Exactly. He killed them all.
But see, what's confusing me is like, so as much as I like the white Hagoromo for divine and good and the black Hagoromo, black cloud for evil, what's confusing me is we never saw Lucci's clouds until he was awakened. But then when you look at Yamato as a child, she had the clouds.
Exactly. Especially in that fox form. I can't lie. Oda is such a great artist. Like the emotion on young Yamato's eyes, the way she has the blushing under her eyelids, like that's an amazing detail.
But
This is why I like Oda. This is
my
why I like the Holy Knights.
my thing is what you said. Like, if this is child Yamato, which presumably it is, she looks a lot younger and smaller. My thing is, like, so she was awakened as a kid? If you say no, then why does she have the
It's a
Hagoromo and then he
possibility.
does?
It's a possibility, but the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm questioning the authenticity of awakened zones. You see what I'm saying? Now we have a Kirin, a Killingham, we have a dragon with a gas mask, and he has a white Hagoromo. That's my guess, is that it's a white Hagoromo. It's not been colored. We've not seen it in the anime, so I have no idea. But I'm guessing because of the nature of that mythical yokai. And by the way, this yokai in lore is considered one of the strongest creatures. So, is he going to go against his nature, like you said? Will he have a white Hagoromo and instead act black? That's the question.
I don't know. I'm so confused with the Hagoromos. Because, like, part of me says, like, the Hagoromo, maybe it's a mixture. Maybe it doesn't have to be either or. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, it's only nature, or oh, it's only awakened. Maybe it's both, because Lucci never had the Hagoromo until he awakened. Luffy never had the Hagoromo until he awakened, as far as I understand. So my thing is, like, so are we saying that Yamato was awakened when she was child? Or did Oda not think that far? Like, when he drew Yamato here for SBS 110, this isn't her as a kid, like she literally was awakened?
And that's the very interesting point of it all, because this just calls into Oda's inconsistencies with future sight depiction, inconsistencies with Conqueror's Haki depiction. Like, you all think Black Lightning, and that includes myself. Black Lightning, Conqueror's Haki, Awakened a Haragomo, white or black, Awakened Zoan. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think Oda is going to make it very clear here soon. Because if I was Oda's editor, I would be up in his face right now and be like, yo, what's going on? Maybe I'm not too intelligent, but I can't follow. Who's who's? You
I
dig?
mean, like, even like if he's inconsistent, I think like this might be something important. YouTube promotion, maybe you could have some thoughts about this. He corrected me. He said Luffy had the Hagoromo, the white cloud, in Gear Fourth. When he was in Bound Man and Snake Man, he had the cloud. But yet, like, Lucci didn't have his Hagoromo until he was awakened. And then like Child Yamato had the Hagoromo. Look, this because the reader says Sensei Yamato was hungry and ate a devil fruit, but what did the beast in human forms look like when he was young? So clearly Oda was like, yeah, when Yamato was young, she had the cloud. So it's confusing me. I think in order to talk about the clouds, I think we gotta have like some kind we have to come to some kind of common denominator to where she had it when she was a kid. Lucci only had it when he awakened. Luffy only had it in Gear Fourth. Like, what is the
But
common
let,
denominator here?
so the common denominator, in my opinion, for Yamato and Luffy specifically, is A. They come from top tier bloodlines. Kaido is is her father, and Luffy has Garp and Dragon. They had Conqueror's hockey from a young age. That is the difference, I believe.
Hmm. Wait, do we know if Yamato has Conqueror's Haki?
I do believe that we have a scene where Yamato knocks out the subordinates of Kaido and they comment on her Conqueror's hockey. I don't know if that was anime added or if that was in the manga, but I do remember a specific scene. It was when the Beast Pirate subordinates were chasing Yamato and she hit him. Not to mention, in a flashback, before the samurai or the beast pirate that slipped her food while she was hiding, she exhibited Conqueror's hockey before Kaido threw her in that cave with the samurai.
So, and Lucci, is he confirmed to have Conqueror's Haki?
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
Hmm. We gotta write all these like details down. Like Luffy didn't have his Hagoromo to Gear Fourth. Yamato was somehow a child with the Hagoromo. Uh, did I say Lucci yet? Lucci didn't have the Hagoromo until he awakened. So what the hell?
And we've only seen Kaido so far, in my estimation. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've only seen Kaido as a young kid being depicted in his normal human form. We've never seen him as a hybrid with the dragon as a kid or anything like that. So we don't know what his Hagoromo looked like.
All right, I did throw SL into this voice chat. I think I'm gonna limit to 3 people at a time, just so there's not too much talking. So if anyone in the stream chat wants to talk to us on stream, exclamation mark Discord, join the backstage, and we'll try to keep rotating people in and out because we don't want too many people. It'll get too hectic and people won't be able to say their piece. But we do have SL in here with us.
What's up, SL?
Yo yo.
How's it going, my friend?
It's going all right. But I was gonna say though, I think with the scarves, I don't know. It's hard to say because it all seems kind of just jumbled up at this point. But
Noted inconsistency. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what I think.
I'm just not sure if there's a set pattern. Like I guess we just have to wait and see what Oda does. It's kind of hard to pin down, I guess.
I mean, we haven't really seen like this true Hagoromo since starting at Gear Fourth, right? Like Shirahoshi, she doesn't really count, right? Because hers is like an actual ribbon, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, I would say hers is more of
Her
a
brother
royal decoration.
doesn't her brothers have that too?
Do they? Yeah, hers is not an actual
So.
cloud. So my thing is like,
Yeah, it's
since like
yeah.
Oda added this pretty late into the story because Gear Fourth would have been Dressrosa in Bound Man. If he added it that late to the story, I'd assume he thought it out beforehand. I don't think he added it to Bound Man, and then like he had no plans for it, and then like Yamato comes along, Kaido comes along, whatever, and then he's like, oh wait, no, I got to be consistent. How do I figure this out? Like, I feel like since it's so late, like it's not something from pre-time skip. Like he did it late enough to that he could be consistent with it. But the problem is I have no clue what this common denominator is. Is it like a combination of like devil fruit, like a Zoan with Conqueror's Haki? But then
One
Lucci, we
thing,
haven't seen his Conqueror's Haki.
yeah, I don't think Lucci has Kentucky. But one thing I will say about Luffy's fruit though is a lot of people don't seem to understand it because I've done a breakdown with it before, but it's like people seem to think that Gear 5 uh like drains Luffy's life, but it doesn't because that doesn't make sense. Like
No,
if you think about any devil fruit ever, there's never been a such thing as an awakening that drains your life force. It doesn't make sense. Cuz like Gear 5 is what I call a traditional fruit form. Because as we've learned now, Luffy isn't as Parameci is a Zoan. So if you think about like in terms of Gear 2, for example, Gear 2 isn't an actual Zoan form. It's literally just ingenuity. It's literally just Luffy creatively figured out something, and he's basically just abusing his body and blood doping. I mean, they already explained what it was, like when he fought Lucci way back then.
so
And
exactly.
literally,
I have
he's just
something
abusing
that's
his
with
body
that.
properties. Like he can do that because he's rubber. Other people can't do it. But that doesn't make it a traditional fruit form or like a traditional ability because it's not actually inherent in the fruit. It's not like meant to happen, so to speak. So like me personally, I don't believe that Joy Boy or Nika actually used Gear 2 ever. I mean, they could have done it. It's possible because they were rubber too, but I don't think they ever did. I think they just had like Gear 5 mastery. And I would say though that Gear 3 is more closer to a traditional fruit ability because of the way that it works, just because of like how it's just like a manipulation of your limb, like of like you growing and everything. So like that's more similar to Gear 5. So I think that and my idea was confirmed even more when Bonnie used Gear 3 because like it's just more of a traditional thing. Can Bonnie use Gear 2? Technically, if Luffy told her how to, she could, but that would just be her abusing the rubber properties once again. So it's not like a traditional ability. You think about it like that, you know? Same thing with Gear 4, really.
And I
Vincent. Oh,
agree with
sorry.
that.
Go ahead.
Especially,
No,
sorry,
go
Cade.
ahead.
I was going to say that I agree with that because if you look at Gear 3 side effects, right, Luffy shrinks, he goes into child form. So I agree, that is pretty consistent with a Paramecia fruit's drawback. So that is a fantastic point.
Vincent did say maybe the cloud scarf has to do with emotions. Like maybe if Luffy has so much rage in him, he'll turn black, and if he can awaken Gear 6 through it calling him Eclipse Luffy. But like my thing is like Luffy was pretty mad against Katakuri. Like if you look at this screenshot, he doesn't look too happy. And like Luffy was also pretty angry at Kaido and Yamato as well. And when Luffy was fighting Luffy in Egghead, he didn't really strike me as like furious, like enraged. So I don't really know about like
Wow.
emotion, like being really angry.
So I completely agree with you. The only thing I would say is I would say that Luffy was pretty pissed when he fought Lucci simply for the fact that Atlas fed him food. We know how simple Luffy is. You hurt somebody that feeds him, he's gonna get mad. But I see the Hagoromo's tied to emotions. That's kind of tricky because in what way can Oda display that consistently to convey it to us? Because I'm speaking for myself, I would miss that. I would completely miss it.
I feel like that's like and I don't mean to sound rude or anything like that, but I feel like it's a little shallow. Cause like I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are sending in reader requests to Oda about the Hagoromo. People always send in reader requests about like, is this character dead? Is this character alive? Like remember there was literally an SBS question about if Shanks has a brother, if he has a twin, like are there two Shanks? Right? So I'd imagine Oda probably gets so many Hagoromo questions to the point where it's like the whole basis for the Hagoromos is like, oh, well, when you're really mad, it's black. When you're happy, it's white. Like that seems a little shallow. It's just kind of like, okay, well, that's the point of Hagoromos now. Like I don't know. It
I
just seems shallow.
I think that was the SBS where Oda redacted his
Yeah,
reply. Like he took it out. Like he
yeah,
replied to Shanks and the twin, and then was like took it away.
yeah.
So I
He
was
Is
did
that the
redact that.
only? Is that the only instance of Oda redacting something in the SBS?
maybe I
One
don't
of the
know.
few, because usually, like, if Oda wants to dodge a question,
He'll just
he,
dodge. Yeah,
yeah, he'll say like, "Oh, I don't know," runs away.
yeah. He be ducking that smoke.
YouTube
For
promotion said, "I think Luffy's body was catching up to his devil fruit. As for Yamato, it was her mind first, but Yamato may not be awakened. We don't know." So,
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I
but
kind
when
of feel like she isn't, but I don't know.
But
Well,
when we
guys,
talk
you
about
try.
like when we talk about like the body catching up to your mind, isn't that just in terms of awakening your fruit? I didn't interpret that as like, oh,
Yeah, pretty
Hagoromo.
much. Yeah,
I do remember. I do remember Kaido saying something about an awakening as Luffy was awakening and fighting him. Something about the mind catching up to the fruit, but I can't remember specifically what he said.
That I
But
think
I
that was in
do
the
think,
context of awakening though, not like a Hagoromo.
yeah.
I definitely don't think Kaido or Big Mom's awakened. That's for sure, though. Because if they were, Oda would have made it plain. Like he wouldn't have just let them like be taken out of the story without ever acknowledging at some way somehow that they were awakened. So
I
I
think it was
don't believe
Flame
they would be
Bagua.
awakened.
He I think it was Flame Bagua. His entire body became magma.
Uh,
And he told Luffy, if you don't deflect this or stop this, you will be pulverized and melted. Like you got to understand, like he's normally a dragon with scales, right? But in Flame Bagua, he literally became full magma. Like his skin was magma, and like it
didn't he
would
just
burn
like
things.
So
didn't he
you're
just
saying in his flame
code himself?
boggle
Didn't
form,
he
he's
just like
awakened?
Yeah, when we talk about Zoans, especially mythical Zoans, me myself, I wouldn't necessarily say that like each awakening is similar to other ones. Like I think like for Luffy's right, his awakening is like pure creativity, but then like Lucci's awakening could be like increased durability and like health recovery and like higher attack power, and then Kaido like his awakening is like a flame body magma thing. Like I wouldn't necessarily say that like all Zoans when they're awakened that they receive the same type of ability.
yeah, I mean he has like the flame avatar thing, but I think that was like pretty much him just coding himself in like his blast breath kind of or something similar to that where he like coded himself. But I feel like he could do that in hybrid form too if he wanted to, but he just never showed that in my opinion. But yeah, like he would have a hybrid form version of
But
that where he'd
like
get coded and
you would
in
also
that
have
heat
to
again.
you also got to look at the context though. Like Kaido, world's strongest creature, who's been using his devil fruit for decades, he's not awakened. And like he was the one that explained to Luffy like your body and your mind needs to catch up to your body, or like vice versa. It just would seem so weird to me if Kaido wasn't awakened, and like former Rocks pirate, like world's strongest creature, the owner and leader of Wano, Yonko Emperor, like how would he not be awakened?
Yeah, there's a lot of memes about that, but I don't
So
know.
if you want my personal opinion, this is just my opinion. My opinion is I think Oda, with his statements, his narrative portrayal, he portrayed Kaido way too high than what he wanted to initially. I think he even exceeded his own expectations because in an SBS, when he was or maybe not an SBS, maybe it was an interview. But I remember Oda saying at one point, like, I don't know how Luffy is going to be Kaido. But you know Oda, he's a
Yeah.
troll. He likes to be sarcastic. He likes to be like, oh, I don't know how this character is going to do this and that man's going to do that. But he said he didn't feel like it would be satisfying if Luffy beat Kaido with a huge punch. He said it would be anticlimactic. It just wouldn't hit right. And granted, that's what happened, but we had nuance. He went Gear 5. So I don't think Oda initially knew exactly what he was going to do with Kaido.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I think he might have just been thinking about it because of how strong Kaido is, and he obviously had an idea of how powerful Kaido was and how hard it would be to take him down. So it was like a whole freaking event just to take him down. Like Luffy losing like 4 times in a row, getting knocked out, having to eat, having to rest. All these other people fighting Kaido, Kaido lifting a freaking island up and holding it, and all this stuff going on at the same time. Like that to me, that's just so funny because like when people say that Oda doesn't like power scale at all or something, it's not like, and it's not like some crazy like whatever, but it's like obviously he has to think in his mind, how strong is this character? How hard is it going to be to beat him? All this stuff. So it's like, yes, in a sense, to some extent, Oda does power scale, yes, because like obviously he has to plan out like these characters and stuff. And it's just like the world dynamic of like everything that goes on, like the Yonkos, the Admirals, all this stuff. It's like there are certain characters that narratively you'll just never see them get done dirty in certain ways because of like how strong they are, and that's just
Exactly. The old
Like,
man
how it
trio.
what
The old man trio.
what I would add, like, two things is YouTube promotion said, could Kaido's flame Bagua be his awakening uh mythical Zoan plus Logia? I mean, when we look at Kaido, a lot of the time it does seem like he could be interpreted as a Logia because he has like electric powers, he has wind powers, and I think like being that he made his entire body out of magma, that seems to be like a much higher level. So I do think it's his awakening. But you mentioned, Smokey, that like Oda didn't want to have Luffy just beat Kaido with a really big punch. And I understand the interpretation of like, oh, well, Luffy used the big bunch through Pajang Gun to beat Kaido. But I think the point is like, he didn't just want the fight to be about punches and then boom, next thing you know, Luffy beats
Exactly.
Kaido with a punch. I think the context
Exactly.
was Gear 5. Like Luffy unlocking Gear 5, awakening his Devil Fruit, having this power to like bend reality in a sense, turning Kaido into jump rope, like all of the things that come with Gear 5. So even though Luffy beat him with a big punch, I think the context is like him adding Gear 5 proves that he like kept his will, that he kept his promise, because it's not only Luffy beating Kaido with a big punch, the whole epitome of Gear 5 and how that fight went down, and his all of his creativity and imagination, that strongly changed the context of the fight. That's what I think he meant.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And I swore, I thought I said that there was a lot more nuance than that. So I understand the way that Oda went with that. All I was trying to say was I think Oda painted himself sort of into a proverbial corner. You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
I agree with everything you say, but I am saying there was just a little nuance. That's all.
yeah. I mean,
Nuance to Gear 5. That's it.
yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with everything.
at the same time though, like Kaido killed Luffy. Like Luffy died. Like his voice disappeared.
Yeah.
Like Luffy died. The only character to ever kill Luffy was Kaido. And like
Yeah.
Kaido really kept his promise. Like I mean, Kaido's crushing 99% of the cast. Like we could sit here and say like,
Yeah.
oh, Shanks beats Kaido, but like look at the huge list of characters we know that Kaido would just completely stomp out. You know, like it, not just like anyone could walk up to Kaido and like defeat him. So I don't know, man.
Is be Kaido or Mihawk?
The
Kaido
list
went-
is very small.
Kaido went extreme diff
Is
against
Mihawk on that list?
Mihawk versus Kaido? I don't know.
I honestly, for a long time, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so for a long time, I had Kaido over Shanks and Mihawk, but at some point, I just kind of had to accept, like, okay, yeah, they're probably gonna be stronger than Kaido. So I have them higher, but yeah.
Even if like someone would say Shanks over Kaido, I don't think that's a 1 day battle, bro. Like they gotta be,
No,
even if Shanks
absolutely.
is stronger than Kaido. Because
It
think
would
about
take 3 days.
Think-
three to 10 days.
yeah, more or even more, because when you look at like the upper, I say this all the time, upper echelon One Piece, the fights are almost relative. Like even Kaido against Big Mom, and she's very strong, she's very formidable. That went on for multiple days. So even if like we would lean
Can I give a
towards,
little context to that?
I will say
Yeah.
though
Just
that
a little context.
because
Okay, Akainu and Kuzan fought for 10 days. Now, Big Mom and Kaido, I think there's a discrepancy between the anime and the manga, but they fought somewhere between 3 to 10 days. Roger and Whitebeard fought for 3 days and 3 nights. So any top tier fight is going to take more than a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like they're all relative.
the only thing for me though is like Odin never does like days fights on screen. It's possible he will one day though, where he'll just do like a time lapse, like a compilate, like a highlighting the big moments. I could see that, but it's just funny when you think of like the admirals fighting for 10 days, and it's like, dude, because it's like we see Kizaru and Egghead after a little while, he's huffing and puffing, and then we see like Kuzan's like going extreme to with freaking old guard
One Don symbol to
while he's at
Kizaru's brain.
it.
He's
It's like,
got his
dude,
hand
come on.
over his head.
It's just, oh my god. But the thing too that's funny with Kaido and Big Mom is like
Booming Don symbol.
they had
Let's
no
go.
damage. After 3 days, they had no damage, and they were still like full energy. Like they still had so much stamina. So it's just like, were they even trying? Like, cause then both of them too. Like when Kaido fought Luffy, and then when Big Mom fought Kid and Law, they were both talking like, "Man, I haven't had a fight like this in so many years and stuff." And it's like, dude,
I
y'all were
think
just
they were
fighting like earlier
overconfident
in the
and
arc.
happy.
It's like, dude, they were just fighting each other early in the arc, and then and then Kaido's like, "No, I haven't fought anybody like this in years." And it's like, dude, you were just fighting Big Mom. Like, what are you talking about?
Even Roger and Whitebeard went multiple days.
Yeah.
And exactly, and I'm pretty sure we all have not Big Mom, Prime Whitebeard and Prime Roger over Kaido and Big Mom, Prime or whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty sure we had those two stronger than Big Mom and Kaido.
Yeah.
Correct?
Upper echelon One Piece, even if you have like someone that would win, it would still be almost relative.
Yeah, I have Roger, Garp, and Whitebeard, and Rocks and Ryuma, all 5 of them in a tier above like the Yonko tier that I have. And then I have like
See,
one tier above that, and the highest tier I have is Joy Boy and Emu. Just those two, and the highest tier above Roger and everybody else. They're in the
I can
highest.
co-sign that. I can.
Yeah, Joy Boy and Emu need to have their own tier.
Yeah,
Which
they're chilling.
Luffy, that necessarily means Luffy surpasses. I
I
mean, he
think
would
so. Yeah.
surpass Joy Boy.
I think he's at least going to be equal to Joy Boy, either
So
equal or slightly surpass him in the story. Yeah,
He
I
would
think so.
surpass him, like Luffy being the MC, saving the world, just like the whole narrative of Luffy being like the chosen one kind of thing, like him
Yeah,
being the strongest character. Like who's the strongest character in One Piece? Oh, the main character. He became the
but
strongest
I
at the end of
think,
the story.
but I'm not gonna lie.
Luffy
I,
will earn it. He will earn
I,
the title.
yeah, I do still think Joy Boy's stronger than Emu because like we know that like Vegapunk literally spilled the beans that Joy Boy got jumped by an alliance, like a whole like the 20 Kingdoms jumped him, like and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you're jumping him, then nobody's beating him 1v1 because how are you jumping him?
Plus
I,
Zunisha, and we
And
don't
then on
even know
top of that,
Zunisha's prime.
Emu was having like
Or in
PTSD
it.
when she felt when Emu he she whatever it is felt Joy Boy's hockey, and she's like on her knees, on his knees, like Joy Boy, and then he's like huffing and puffing and stuff just from feeling the hockey. It's like,
but
dude,
1 second.
with 19 people jumping Joy Boy, I don't know. I think we need context on that because do we really think like there was literally like 20 people fighting versus Joy Boy? Because I'd imagine Joy Boy had commanders. Like
oh,
he
for
most
sure.
likely ran the ancient kingdom, so like they could have had kings fight like different like the kings on Emu side fought like Joy Boy and his commanders. So it doesn't
I
necessarily have to
definitely,
be like a literal like 20 people versus Joy Boy at once.
I definitely think there was more involved, but yes, I do believe that Joy Boy was like fighting like a group. I also believe that a lot of those kings back then, or at least some of them, had Conqueror's hockey because my idea is that because it's called King's hockey, so I think that way back in the day, the reason that that name came about was because there were literal kings using this hockey. That's why it's
What
called
about
King.
Lily being a
That's
D?
what I think.
Conqueror's hockey or no?
He could have
I mean,
been.
she could have been a warrior type. I
Maybe.
don't see it as a problem. I mean,
Another thing
I
that I
don't
will
find a
say,
problem with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but what I was gonna say earlier was YouTube promotion said something. Hold on, I gotta find it. Oh man, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna find
but I
that.
was gonna
What are
say
you
the other
saying?
thing I was gonna say about the Ancient Kingdom though. Like I did used to think that he was like maybe the king of the Ancient Kingdom, but then when Oda revealed that he was the first pirate, that kind of just might have thrown a wrench into everything. Where it's like, okay, what the heck was Joy Boy's involvement and everything? Because if he's just like this like rogue like wild card. Like he's probably connected to the ancient kingdom. Like obviously he lived in the same era, but maybe he wasn't like the actual king of the ancient kingdom. Maybe he was like a friend and he was somehow connected to everything, but like he was just kind of doing his own thing. Like what's going on here? Because he's the first pirate. He's sailing around. A king isn't just like a pirate that's sailing around the world and like not managing their kingdom or whatever, right? So, like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe Joy Boy was like, to give a king or kingdom analogy. Joy Boy was like Shin, and then like the ancient kingdom had like their own Elsei. So like Joy Boy is like the strongest dude, notorious, going around the world fighting these wars, these battles, because of his close connection to the king. But then I wonder, like, who would have been the king?
Can I connect what you just said to One Piece, kind of? Just because I've never read Kingdom, but I kind of get what you're saying. So let me connect that to Odin being a king in Wano, right? He was a king. He was so strong, he went out on the seas and trusted people, and they guarded the nation. The king's got to be free, just like Luffy. Luffy's not going to rule from a throne. He's going to be out on the Thousand Sunny, going wherever the hell he's got to go.
Yeah.
Is that similar, or am I completely off?
I mean,
Luffy also said,
Freedom of a king who's so powerful to just rule from wherever.
but Luffy.
That's
also
what
said
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he doesn't care about like conquering everyone and making them bow down. He just wants to be free. That's what he said. So yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, but it's hard to see that Joy Boy is the king now after finding out that he was a pirate. Who was the first pirate? I don't think he was.
I don't know, like, if it would have to be a scenario where all the problems or even many problems would have to go to Joy Boy. Because, like, if you think about, like, America, right? We have a president, but it's not like he does everything.
Sure.
So
Checks and
here
balance.
another thing to take into context is that the ancient kingdom was far more advanced than Egghead. So who's to say that they didn't have like the internet or like phones and stuff like that, and they could call each other and like email and stuff like that? That could really change the context as well.
I used to say that we had FaceTime.
Yeah, they were FaceTiming Joy Boy, and they were like, "Hey, we actually have a big thing that we need your opinion on."
Yeah,
I mean,
low
but
key,
Emma
this
did
is
say,
unrelated, but I bet Joy Boy had all the women. He was FaceTiming them. Yo, Willie, what's up?
See, one thing that would argue for the idea of Joy Boy being king is, again, like, look at Elbaf and Little Garden arc. They were saying that pretty much Elbaf lived in a theocracy where their god would solve problems and disputes. Well, if they compared Joy Boy to Nika, because Joy Boy could stretch and contract, then that must mean that Joy Boy had the Nika fruit. So wouldn't they have perceived Joy Boy as God? And if they were running a theocracy, then he would be the king?
But Emeth did say, I failed, like, sorry, Joy Boy, I failed to make you king, whatever he meant by that. So, whatever that means.
What chapter was that again? I want to check the officials.
It was I don't know, somewhere in Egghead once he was awakened, like in the late Egghead.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about, but I don't remember like feeling the.
It was like when he first, yeah, it was like before he started fighting the Gorosei. It was like, I think it should have been like right around there, maybe. But yeah, he said like, I failed to make you king. I'm not sure which translation that was, but yeah. He said like, I'm sorry, like he was apologizing when he got up. So it's just like kind of paints a picture. There was like, it was complicated what happened in the past, and it was like kind of probably some kind of a tragedy and stuff like that, where it was like everybody kind of fumbled, and there's probably just a lot of unfortunate events.
Let's see.
I'm not gonna lie. When it came up about Joy Boy's crew betraying him, initially I thought it was Lily, but it looks like the evidence isn't balancing out that way. It's looking like she instead had a secret message and spread the poneglyphs. So,
well, that's an important thing because that's something that I've been keeping my eye on for a long time.
absolutely. So I'm agreeing with you. I believe I believe Zunisha is being punished for a reason. If it's not a full betrayal, he messed up in some way.
But I think with the poneglyphs, the thing that is important is like Wano and Chandio were both invaded for the glyphs because of the glyphs. So, because Calgera explained to Nolan before they got knocked up for Skypiea, he was explaining to Nolan that his ancestors died fighting, defending the glyph. So we know that
Yeah,
even
back when they were a part of
way long
Jaya.
ago, yeah, right. So long time ago, they tried to take the glyph from them, just like they tried to invade Wano for the same reasons. So, but they were able to defend it, like with many people dying in the process, they were able to defend it. And over the course of history, people forgot why they were defending it. But by that point, Kalgar, all he knew was that his ancestors died fighting for it, so it was important to them and their history and their culture and everything. But he just didn't know why. It was
What do you
lost.
think about this, Threeble? I see you thinking.
I mean, in terms of Calgar protecting Shandora and all that, I mean, when we see Robin in the Skypiea arc walk around Shandora, she's pointing out how like there's like this is pretty much where they were being stored. Like at some point there's a bunch of poneglyphs at Shandora. So and like she talks about how we are the weavers of history on a poneglyph, which references the Kazukis, how
Right.
they were using them to carve on the
Right.
poneglyphs. So I always wonder like what was the connection between the Shandians and the Kazukis, considering that Shandora is like halfway through the Paradise Grand Line, but then Wano's all the way in the New World. How did the Kazukis and the Shandians have a connection?
We
Because
have to wonder.
yeah, because
And
that
see,
that would be
that
important
just brings
context.
up
You have to
that
wonder
just
that
brings
about
up
Lily
what I was
too.
thinking.
You have to wonder that about Lily too, because she's the one that distributed the glyphs. So
And my
or
On
question
somehow
that
is,
was
fateful
involved.
day.
how does this connect to
Right.
Bertha and Rouge? How
So
do the
it
Sky
does.
Islands connect? That's what I'm
So
wondering.
so it does kind of link where it's like, okay, there seemed to be some sort of alliance that Joy Boy / Lily had with all these different countries / races. And that in the past was like my idea for what the ancient kingdom was like, what is it, like this alliance of different nations? But then we learned new information where it's like it made things even more foggy, where it's like answering more things just made more questions. You know what I mean? It's like, what is
The
going on in the
classic
Voidland
Oda.
series? Yeah. So, but there's definitely a connection there. But I do like I know you've seen the theory I have with like Jaya was moved and stuff. So like what I think is like if that happened, like if Jaya used to be near where the Holy Land is and used to be like a part of that area, then the invasion for the glyphs, like that happened a long time ago, would have been right around the same area. It would have been more like neighboring lands rather than them going across the sea to attack Jaya. It would have been like they were invading them from like neighboring lands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would have been close quarters.
Blackbeard
But yeah.
Propaganda said, "Great first Sunday official chapter review. This guy knows how to entertain and make your brain balls grow." I don't know what a brain ball is, but appreciate it, bro.
Brain ball.
Brain balls. I'm scared to even ask what that means.
Since I'm the pervy sage, since Robin is a smart archaeologist, she be making my brain balls grow.
At least you didn't say emptied. Anyways, yeah, going back to this Hagoromo, I don't know, man. I almost quit because I mean, I guess if there was a gun to my head, I would say that it's based on nature and different people get their Hagoromo at different times. Like I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it is rather interesting though that again, Killingham, a holy knight saint, has a white Hagoromo. Like, do we have is Yamato's devil fruit based on a specific creature?
On his jacket. Sorry, I
No, you're
didn't mean to
good.
interrupt.
No, you're good.
What's the symbol on his jacket?
Yeah, it looks familiar. I noticed that too.
Maybe Oda's just trolling us. Maybe that's what it is.
Is it
Yeah.
connected to the same glyphs? Could it be connected to Summers? Could it be the Gorisei's family in a pack? Shepard, Jupiter, I mean, shepherd, workery, etc., etc.
The Okuchi no Magami, or simply Makami/Magami, is the deification of the now extinct Japanese wolf, which was traditionally worshipped as a sacred beast in Japan. This is Yamato's fruit. So I wonder, like, oh, dude, this is all in Japanese. I wonder, like, if Yamato's so-called inspiration for her devil fruit was it worshipped. Okay, so it's considered holy. Her devil fruit, in terms of her wolf, is a specific wolf, and it's considered a holy beast. So maybe it is
Yes,
good. Like all the white is
that
holiness, the black is evil. Holy versus evil. But then the question goes, we go back to Killingham. Kind of weird how this guy has a holy devil fruit, although he serves the holy knights, which are by definition evil.
mm.
I still
I'll try
can't
to
figure out where
find
the Dean's from.
I'll try to find the chapter with Emeth. Let me see.
All
You
I
got,
was gonna
you got
say is
this, right? Or
just all I was gonna say, just based off pure instinct and recollection of different animals in different mythologies, different religions, different cultures. Some animals being evil, some animals being good, and then in other cultures, those animals are good, other animals are evil. So in some cultures, especially with yokai, and opposite of yokai, wolves can be deified, they can be revered, especially in Norse mythology with Fenrir, even though he was
What's good, John Smith?
hired and respected. This is the guy who's gonna end up killing Odin in Ragnarok. So you never know.
Is a leopard perceived as evil though? Man, I can't let go of this whole Hagoromo thing. A leopard is not generally considered evil in most cultures.
Try typing in leopard yokai or leopard demon inspirations and see if anything comes up.
I'm gonna check that
But
out.
just like you were just looking up, I haven't seen a leopard being depicted as a demon or anything like that in any culture. But it's possible if you put that in, I
Yeah.
could be proven wrong.
I'm gonna check that out, but I do see it says in some contexts, particularly where human leopard conflicts exist, they may be perceived negatively due to their predatory nature and potential attack for or attacks on humans. I mean, Lucci is a predator in One Piece, right? Like his whole
And
thing
that
about killing.
So I'm not going to say it ties in, but what I am going to bring up is the world conflict that India has with leopards. So in India, we have a lot of major cities. We have Calcutta, we have New Delhi, we have Bangalore, etc., etc. We have lots of leopards. Like I'm saying, like 200 to 300 per like 5 miles, living all compacted into a big city that is overpopulated. So you never know. Oda might take inspiration between real human and animal conflict when it comes to the specific nature of Lucci's Hagoromo.
By the way, there is a leopard yokai, but I don't know if I necessarily get Lucci vibes from it. Jacob said, I forgot the exact place, but there's a society of shapeshifters called the Society of Human Leopards. I've never heard of that before.
What about a yokai for a white tiger? Because I know there's tiger yokais, but what about a white one specifically?
The Byakuya. I've seen this before.
oh, I found it. It's chapter
Byako
1000.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
It's chapter 1122. I want to apologize to you.
What page is it?
I hope Joy Boy forgives me. I failed to make him king.
Oh, you
Yeah,
know
it's like
what?
right
I do
after he
remember
uses
that.
the knot. It's like right after he uses the knot. But he was already saying like he apologized when he woke up. But he
You're
just
talking
like
about Emeth, right, SL?
yeah.
Emeth? Okay.
Yeah. Emit/Emit. That's
What page?
it's 1122. It's like right before he uses the knot. Like right before.
Because now that you say this, I think it's starting to come to mind. Yeah, I'm sorry that I couldn't make you king. King of the pirates? Or is he really referring
We
to
have
king
no
of...
clue what
King
he's
of the
doing.
world?
Yeah, like we have no idea.
Was Joy Boy supposed to take the throne of King of the World, and Emu ended up stealing it?
I mean,
Was Joy Boy and his pure intentions supposed to be King of the World?
Yeah, because
I
I
think
could
so.
see... I could see him like Joy Boy wanted to be king of the world because like the thing is like One Piece has this huge theme where it's not that ideas per se or like certain objects are evil, it's the intention behind it. So like when you look at Clover and Robin's backstory, you can see the conversation that Clover brings up to the Gorosei, or at least Cypher Pole. He was telling them like, why are you so worried about the poneglyphs? Why are you so worried about the ancient weapons? They in themselves are not bad. It's what you would do with it. And the Gorosei even co-signed it when they were on the phone. They were like, yeah, exactly. If people knew about the ancient weapons and how to grab them, they would destroy this world. And they were having that conversation about like the inherent nature of something versus the intentions behind it. So if Joy Boy wanted to be the king of the world because he knows that he has a good heart and that him being the king of the world and that he would have him living with like good values of, you know, love and freedom and stuff like that, that could deter a lot of evil. But then Emu would be the other side of the coin where Emu was like, no, I want to be king of the world, but for my own power control, my own selfish gain. And that would make them like two different sides of the same coin. Same thing with Luffy and Blackbeard. Like Luffy would want to be king of the world or pirate king for the sake of good things in the world, but then Blackbeard would want to be pirate king for his own evil agenda. And I would even go further when we see how Blackbeard on Hachinosu literally tells Kobe, "Don't squash my dreams" in the official translations, in reference to making Hachinosu a pirate country, which is a really big deal. I think that's a hint towards how he wants to make a pirate country. Just look at Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. They are sitting there telling each other's dreams. They cut out what Luffy says for his dream.
They cut it out.
It brings up the women Ace thing.
Yeah,
Ace's country, Sabo's country, Luffy's country.
Exactly. You
And
flip the page.
Anime, yeah, in the anime they butchered it because they just threw in him saying, "I want to be king of the pirates," but that's not what he said. Actually,
One thing to support what you're
he
saying,
didn't say
Three.
any of that.
Remember, Doflamingo said, "Winners decide history." Joy Boy was on the side of being correct. Emu won the war. Therefore, we're stuck in what we're stuck in.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So
here's the thing. Here's the thing to mention, though. It's a very nuanced, because, like, I mean, even Vegapunk had a hard time taking a stance on it. But as we found out from the mural, like in the first world, because we know in the second world is when the world government got established, like 800 years ago. Before that, the world government didn't exist. But in the first world, there was already oppression, there was already slavery, there was already all kinds of stuff. The same stuff that happens now in the third world and in the second world, it was all still happening in the first world before Emu took power. So it makes you wonder, like, what was going on, and it makes you wonder
yeah,
about the kingdom, because the ancient kingdom seems more gray, where it's like there might have been bad things also going on with the ancient kingdom, because why did the 20 nations like come together to take down the ancient kingdom? Maybe it's much more nuanced than I guess than we thought. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So my thoughts on that is like, even though they say the ancient kingdom had like immense power and all this technology, that doesn't necessarily mean that they had their own world government, and maybe that's what they were striving for. So when Emeth says, "Sorry that I couldn't make you king," and Luffy says king, maybe the ancient kingdom wanted to make their king or Joy Boy the king of the world to establish like their own UN or establish their own NATO. So again, this would have Joy Boy and Emu automatically have this dichotomy, automatically have this rivalry, because Emu wants to take over the world and Joy Boy wants to take over the world, but for totally different reasons. That's why I was bringing up Luffy wanting to make a pirate country, whereas Blackbeard wants to make his pirate country, but for two totally different reasons. So I say that to say that if the world was evil and there was like a lot of oppression and a lot of slavery in the free world or in the first world, but the world government that we know today wasn't established yet, that's probably because there was nobody to dictate Wano and tell them, hey, you can't do that. Or they can't go to Dressrosa and say, hey, you can't do that. There was no overbearing art, like overarching authority. Like every country was able to do exactly what they wanted. But like, look at the problems with that, right? Like if no one outside of Wano could tell Wano what to do, then Wano's going to continue bringing slavery. It took Luffy, an outsider, to go to Wano and like pretty much destroy like their hierarchy, their government, and tell them you can't do this to people, you can't starve people, you can't enslave people. So maybe it was Joy Boy like traveling around the world, just like Luffy. Joy Boy sees all these problems, all this suffering, all the starving, all the wars, all the slavery, just like Luffy, and he has to go to liberate every single island, every single country, just like Luffy. And he's like, you know what? I need to be king of the world, because if I was the king of the world, I know I'm not an evil person. I can have power over other nations to not let them abuse their citizens. Whereas Emu's like, you know what? That's a great idea, but if I was king of the world, I would have immense power. I would make my own holy land. I would have total control over everything. So I do like the idea of Joy Boy wanting to become king of the world through good intentions, whereas Emu wanted to become king of the world for bad intentions.
So let me say, I absolutely love everything that you just said, and I want to pose two questions to you. One, do we think it's possible that the ancient kingdom was a monarchy, right? Let's say there was some princess. You know how Oda loves his women. He creates a princess. Her and Joy Boy get along and all that. And by popular demand of the country, because of what Joy Boy does, they want him to become next in line for the throne for the ancient kingdom. And Joy Boy at the time, he was young, naive. Before he decided to become king of the world, like what you were tying into, he decided, nah, I don't want that. So, where do we think that the ancient kingdom had a democracy or a sort of ritual by trial that Joy Boy won?
Nah, I think so. I have a full-fledged answer on this. Again, I believe that the ancient kingdom, they had a theocracy, because when you look at Joy Boy and you look at Nika and you look at Luffy, it's so clear that the heaviest inspiration outside of like Hanumanji is Jesus, and like directly relating to God. Like they literally call Nika God, like the sun God, and then they pray to a cross. They have a Bible, and Kuma worshipped Nika. His father told him how Nika will return one day, just like how Jesus is going to return and take down the Antichrist. All that kind of Jesus stuff, which would be related to God. And I mentioned earlier in Little Garden, Dorian Broggy said, yeah, back in Elbaf, we've always done this for like thousands of years. We would bring our problems to God. We would bring our issues to our God, which directly means that it was a theocracy. Now, if you look at the idea of that Vegapunk brought up in his announcement on Egghead, he said that this war was between two different ideas, two different ideologies, and he didn't know, he couldn't say which one was right or which one was wrong. Well, clearly Emu's side won. Like if they're having this whole war over two different ideologies, Emu's ideology won. Well, what's his ideology? A democracy, because when you look at the Reverie, you look at the these meetings that they're having at Marijua all the time, it's clear that the world government in One Piece is based off of the UN down to the logo, the amount of countries that they have under their flag. They all come through. They have what in the UN they would call a General Assembly. One Piece calls it a Reverie. Then they have all these kings vote. Like the One Piece world government down to the Reverie is exactly like the UN. And the point of that is that the One Piece world lives in a democracy. So then that would mean that Joy Boy didn't want a democracy, because it was two competing ideologies. Joy Boy must have had a different idea, and if we again look back at Dorian Broggy, Little Garden, and Elbaf, they take their problems to God. Their God settles the disputes. It's most likely that he wanted a democracy. So what do we have in One Piece? The ancient kingdom, and then you can see this very obvious in Elbaf. They believe in God. They believe in the supreme creator, like this guy of joy, which Jesus brought joy and laughter to all people. they must have lived in a theocracy. And Emu, what he did was he gave people, he served people a lie. Emu told people, nah, instead of having this God, why do we need God? Like, why do we have to worship Nika? Why do we need to worship God? I want to be an atheist. Like, Emu's like, all right, let's have a democracy where we can all vote. And everyone of all of his supporters, all of Emu's 19 people, 18 people, whatever, they all bought into that. They're like, yeah, why should we have to go to a God? I don't believe in that God. Is that God even real? You know what they ended up doing? They fell for it and they created what we see as the world government democracy. But it's not actually real because Emu's behind the scenes with supreme authority, making it an autocracy. So that's what it is. The ideologies was Joy Boy's theocracy, having the rulership and the laws and the legislation being based off of Jesus, son of God, the son God, versus Emu trying to tell people we should live in a democracy, forget God, we don't need God, does he even exist? Let's have a democracy, but then by the same standard, he turns around and he rules everything behind the scenes through an autocracy because he's the supreme ruler. And that reminds me, another parallel is you see in the UN, the real world United Nations, there's 5 permanent members. They call it the Security Council. They're permanent members, permanent in the UN, that has more authority over all the other countries in the UN. Notice how there's 5 Gorosei members, which might be permanent, that again have more power, especially in legislation,
Absolutely.
over the other kings of the reverie. So I
The first
100%
world
believe,
country,
I 100% believe
USA,
Joy Boy's idea was
Europe,
theocracy.
China. Yes. Everything you're saying is absolutely true, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I know what you're saying is true. So what you're saying is no democracy, it's actually an autocracy. It's a
Yes,
fallacy.
100%. Yes,
It's a
100%. He tricked them. He tried to say, nah, if look, we could all have power. You know, us 19 people, we could come together and we could just rule over the whole world and we could all be equal to each other. The whole time he's hiding behind the scenes. He probably faked his death too. He probably faked
And
his
then
death.
he consolidated power with the kingdoms that would eventually become the Gorosei. Not kingdoms, but the royal families.
Yeah,
Emir said, it's
Well,
going to be a democracy, but hey, you 5 powerful kings, follow me.
there
exactly.
is
Boom.
there is also a possibility. It's crazy because like somebody made a clip a long time ago where it was like Ace and Oars Jr. and the scene where they're together and like he made the hat or whatever. It looked just like the scene with Joey Boy and the meth. And the scene where Amath and Job are together looked just like Zoe, like the background of Zoe, like they were on that one building or tree or whatever.
The whale tree.
And it was like, so, but one thing that people have interpreted it as is like, what if Amath was kind of like Ace, where he wanted to make Joy Boy king, where Ace wanted to make Whitebeard king, but Whitebeard didn't actually really care about like being quote unquote king of the world or whatever, or like pirate king. So like in this case, Joy Boy might not have cared, maybe not have cared about being king, but they wanted him to be king.
So
That's
the
also
best way I view Whitebeard is Whitebeard could have been king, but instead Whitebeard was that guy standing in front of the throne to make sure nobody who wasn't worthy, other than the guy that Roger was waiting for, Luffy, was ready to begin. I believe Whitebeard, other than the fact that he wanted to save Ace, we know he's his son, we know Whitebeard is a good father, we know all that. But all I'm trying to say is Whitebeard was confirmed ready to lose his life once he saw Luffy's potential. Once he saw Luffy was the guy that Roger was waiting for, then Whitebeard was willing to step aside from the throne and let Luffy continue the journey to try and contend.
And SL, you also know this, just to add, is like, you know, Jesus sits on the right hand of Father Almighty. Jesus reigns as king. Jesus is the Most High. So if Luffy's having all of these connections to Jesus, it only makes sense that he would have some type of authority, like some type of rulership. And it's all about intention. That's why I emphasized it so much. The whole Robin situation in her flashback at O'Hara, it's like the intention. So like Joy Boy and Luffy, they wouldn't want to be like king of the world in the sense of like, I want to be behind a desk signing papers all day. I want to make all the money and control everybody. It's for the sense of protecting people. Like even look at all the times in the story where Luffy, like especially towards his crew, Luffy says, "If I can't be the strongest, I can't help people." Like he needs to have power. He needs to have authority. He needs to
Yeah,
be
well,
able
he
to go and tell
basically,
other people what to do.
yeah, he said basically, I'll surpass the Yonkos, the admirals, everybody, or the admirals, the Yonkos. Basically, he said his goal was to be top one, pretty much. That's basically what
Remember, guys, when he fought Bluno before he went Gear 2, he thanked Bluno. He said, because you guys showed up, you showed me I need to evolve. Why do I need to evolve? Because maybe my crew isn't the strongest, but I'll protect their dreams. So because of that, I have to become the strongest.
Mm.
And that could him being the strongest could be a stepping stone to something else. Like if he's the strongest, should he have to go around the world for the rest of his life beating people up when they do bad things? Like maybe it's a stepping stone, because if he's the strongest, that could give him some type of authority. Where like if he beats up Doflamingo, he can have authority to say like, "Hey, Dressrosa, do this or don't do that. Hey, I beat up Kaido, I destroyed Kaido, and I liberated you. Don't do this or please do that." Like maybe it's just for the sake of a stepping stone, because you even see like when Luffy talks about his dream and he talks about Pirate King, doesn't he make it clear that like part of it is a stepping stone to something greater? Like didn't he say like being
Exactly.
Pirate King is a stepping stone?
Exactly.
So if him being the strongest in the world
Or-
to not only protect his friends and save his friends, but other countries, like all these islands and all these countries, maybe the stepping stone of Pirate King and being the strongest is going to lead him into having authority, so he doesn't have to fight people. Like imagine a world where like there's always total chaos, like anybody can go to Dressrosa and then just destroy it, anyone could go to Wano and destroy it, and like Luffy has to keep going to these islands and beating those guys up, versus like
And
him
all
having
that
some type of
leads to
authority.
that's liberty being tangible,
Well,
which leads back to your theory.
I don't think Luffy would ever be like. I don't think he would ever want to have that responsibility of like doing that. Maybe he would change. I don't know, but
I think
then
with
it's
more
for the
power,
sake-
he is
will
still
change.
he is still a pirate, and he just wants to roam the seas. But like, for me, I see Dragon as the hero of the story, even though in some ways Luffy is a hero, but he's still also really a pirate, and he even said he wouldn't share his meat with other people. So it's like, and he's like, I'm not a hero, I'm a pirate. So
Yeah, but here's
like
the
I
thing,
get
right?
it. He's really kind-hearted and he helps people. And if somebody tells him their story and their
Well,
dreams, defend them, and
Well, one
he just knows that
Luffy,
they'll fight for you. But he's still
well,
not the
one
hero.
thing
Really,
no,
Dragon's
yeah,
actually
but
one thing to know, whatever Luffy
That
decides, Dragon will be okay with.
people
Whether
like to
he
hate
wants to be a
Dragon,
hero,
but he really is the hero.
pirate, because remember when he saw him off on what you call it, he said, "Oh, a pirate? Well, that's fine too. Whatever leads you to the answer."
but
We know
here's the
ultimately
thing, right?
Luffy is like Nika and everything too, but you know what I mean. Like Dragon and Luffy are both the heroes of the story.
Yeah, but even if Luffy doesn't want to be a hero or be perceived as a hero, that people could still perceive him that way anyways. And I wanted to add, like, like Luffy is literally, he's went through so much of the world to the point where Luffy's gonna be friends with like most people, especially because when he becomes Pirate King, a lot of people are gonna like Luffy. They're gonna even probably pledge their allegiance to Luffy. So with that being said, if he knows one of his friends are suffering, like over there in Wano, over there in Dressrosa, over there in Alabasta, he like is he gonna have to keep continuously travel to all these different islands, like beating up the bad guy, or is he gonna be able to like lay down the law and be like, no, like this country is under the almost like the world
It's like
government, but
even the flags,
the like yeah, under the flags, but
Fishman Island and Wano.
So what basically Freeboy is saying is Luffy has that charisma. He's got that la pasión. He's got that everything everybody's going to follow.
yeah, so
like it's like Yonko territories. Like Whitebeard used to have Fishman Island, but then when he died, Big Mom took it over. But then Luffy took it or said he will take it in the future. I don't know if he took it yet or said he would in the future. I forget. I think he might have said.
This will be a never-ending cycle. But look, we got to get to the core of this. It'll be a never-ending cycle if there's no authority. Because like Luffy can make it and become the Pirate King, and then some guy can be like, you know what? I feel like taking over Dressrosa. Then they go to Dressrosa. Is Luffy gonna have to go over there and fight him? Just a perpetual cycle. Because then the question becomes like, okay, well, what was the point of it all? Like, is Luffy gonna have to continuously go to every single island? Or like if we talk about the flags thing, like, oh well, I have Wano under my flag, I have Fishman Island under my flag. Is Luffy gonna like not allow other countries to be under his flag? You would think like the whole world would want to be under Luffy's flag, so then it's like, how does he maintain that? Because anyone could go to an island and destroy it and be stronger than other people there. Like, is Luffy gonna have to continuously go to islands, beat people up, liberate them, and then go to the next island because it was taken over? Like, there has to be some type of authority that Luffy would have. And again, I don't think it's like Luffy sitting behind a desk signing papers. And I don't know if like Luffy, him not wanting to be a hero, if that really matters, because regardless if he wants to be a hero or like if that's within his intentions or if he doesn't want people to see it, he still is a hero. Like they could sit there and like,
he is in ways, but I'm not saying that he isn't. But I just think you have to wonder what's the revolutionaries' plans, because their goal is to topple the world government, which is one of the, if not the biggest goal in the series. Like that's harder than becoming Pirate King. Toppling the entire world government is like an insane goal. Like so much so that nobody else has really undertaken it. Like we have like characters that have like good moments and like are willing to do things for people they care about, like Whitebeard and Shanks for their family and friends. But yeah, even them with their Yonko level organizations and resources aren't going to sit there and dedicate their lives and have patience to topple the world government. But yet Dragon is, even knowing how crazy of a goal it is and what it takes, he's still willing to undertake that, which is just insane to me. But like it makes you wonder, what would the revolutionaries' idea be for after the goal is accomplished? Because that's the question you have to ask. And remember, Dragon, even in pre-timeskip, said, one day the day will come when we will meet on the seas, talking about Luffy.
He would
So
probably,
that's gonna happen one day.
yeah,
they're gonna meet up.
Okay, so when we talk about the world government, well, what about the Marines? They're completely corrupt. So I think the point is that the Revolutionary Army has the name Army in their name, and we have like these Marines that are like, all the fodder are just completely goofballs. Like they're being led by these evil admirals. Garp's eventually gonna die. He's already like 80. Someone's gonna have to reform and lead the Marines. Is it gonna be Kobe by himself? I think the army, the Revolutionary Army, should work and reform the Marines. Maybe Dragon can have a position in terms of politics alongside with Luffy, but Luffy has to play some kind of role besides like, oh well, you know, I saved Fishman Island, I saved Alabasta, I saved Dressrosa, I saved Wano, I saved Elbaf. Now I'm out of here. And then it's like, what, back to wars? Like, how are they gonna make it to either have no wars anymore or limit it drastically? Like, how are they going to do that? Especially if you want to have like everyone in one piece, like all races unite, all islands and countries unite. How's that going to be possible unless there's some form of authority there? And then the person to bring that authority, if it was Dragon, so then Dragon saved the world. I thought Luffy was the main character.
I think
right.
Well, here's the thing, though. People can know.
Go ahead, my bad.
And then some people spread, like Morgan's, for example, spreads like propaganda on both sides. Like he'll just make stuff up and like twist stuff on either side to make it like crazier and just like whatever. But even if people know that Luffy was one of the people that saved the world, people can say anything or like spread anything. Just like with Buggy, like some people think Buggy's gonna be the Pirate King, and like, you know, like people are gonna spread the propaganda that Buggy's the Pirate King, and then all that kind of stuff. Even though Luffy would actually be the Pirate King, but you know what I mean? Where it's like, you know,
I do think Buggy is gonna see the One Piece first, and I do think he's gonna sit on the throne of the world first.
I think he'll sit on.
He might not be Pirate King in actuality, but he's gonna fail his way upwards. But anyways, what I wanted to say is, I believe Luffy is going to be a king that delegates, and he's going to delegate to people like Vivi, Kobe, and those people who are tied down to nations, tied down to a little more structure. Because at the end of the day, this is what I truly believe. At the end of the day, Luffy is a free spirit. He's going to be the type of guy that's going to be like, oh, the 20 kings are meeting. He's going to sneak out the window and he's going to jump on the sunny and he's going to take off for the horizon. You feel me?
Pretty much, yeah.
So I believe
I-
Luffy's going to delegate.
Yeah.
That's all
I
I'm
feel
saying.
like
Delegation.
I definitely think that Lily's gonna rise to prominence because, and I've thought that for a while. I'm not sure exactly how that's all gonna work. I'm not sure that she would become like the world, like her family would become like the world top leader or not. But I definitely think that she'll be a huge part of like delegating things once everything's said and done because Oda kind of set her up for that role, and that's part of the reason why she never became like a full-fledged Straw Hat, and she's just an honorary one because she's meant to like govern and have that responsibility of taking care of the kingdom, and then so now that's gonna go to the next level, like in the end of story, I think. But
All
yeah,
right,
and
so
yeah,
I just want to say real quick, I do have some stuff I gotta do today before I go to bed. So we'll probably wrap up in maybe like 10 minutes or so. So if SL or Smokey have anything else to add, or if someone in chat has last minute questions, we'll probably wrap up in 20 minutes. I got some work I need to do. But of course, guys, we're going to be live again here very soon. It's Sunday today. We're going to be live again on Tuesday for the short summary, Wednesday long summary, Thursday unofficial chapter, and then again Sunday a week from now with the official chapter. So 4 streams a week, guys. Any last questions you want to ask me or SL or Young Smokey? Now would be a great time. But yeah, SL, Smokey, is there anything else you guys want to add?
Go ahead, SL. I'll let you go first.
no, not much else. Like, I'm good.
Young
Anything else I
Usopp,
would add would probably take too long. So I'm
Young
good.
Usopp made a good point to what you both were saying. He said Buggy did say he wants to be king of the world, not pirate king. Yeah, he did. And that was during Marineford. He said he wanted to become king of the world. Interestingly enough, Blackbeard's never said that. And we, like, trust me, we could sit here all day talking about why Blackbeard could say that. But the question is, has he said that? Buggy has said that, but not Blackbeard. Well, who else has said that? Stelly, okay, that's kind of like a one-off kind of thing. Zabek.
Yeah, I mean, Blackbeard is like the parallel of Zebek, and we still don't. It's still shrouded in mystery exactly what happened with Zebek, and there's probably a lot of propaganda about it. Because I mean, it's crazy how like somebody who was as prominent as Roger did the things that Roger did and stirred a lot of trouble, but they didn't wipe him out from the history, but they wiped out rocks in history. And this is again Emu, a freaking evil and like being and the Celestials who are disgusting people that like kill, rape, steal wives, and enslave and do all this stuff. And they're wiping out rocks from the history. Like, how bad could rocks have been? I honestly don't believe that he was just so evil that like they've already done everything that you could do for evil. Like, how could he be more
Can I
evil?
bring
They've
a
already done
parallel when
evil
you're
that's just
done,
like
SL?
oppressing everyone. Like, dude, come on. Yeah, no, yeah, you can.
Alright, so the parallel I have, check me out, guys. The parallel I have is to Yu Yu Hakusho back in the day. So in the last arc of Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke is revealed to be a Mazaku. And a Mazaku is a demon king that is like born thousands of generations later. So the demon mates with a woman, and 1,000 years later, Yusuke comes out. So what if, basically I'm saying, what if Blackbeard is a Mazaku? Not a demon, but what if by like lineage, devil fruit power, or something like that, Blackbeard generations down from Zebek was born?
I mean,
Inherited will, all of that.
I mean that That's possible, but like, like sometimes I like wonder, like, are we putting like too much emphasis on Blackbeard being related to Zebek as opposed to Blackbeard being a D? Because like I feel like we have far more information about Blackbeard being a D over Blackbeard being connected to Zebek. And when we look at the mural, right, it talks about those of the half moon dreamed. I'm pretty sure most people would say that's the D clan. But moving to the third world, we can see how the inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voice of the half moon. Voice of the half moon would have to be like the dreams, the aspirations, what the original D clan wanted to accomplish, what they believed, what they dreamed of. And when it talks about the inconvenient remnants recall the promised day, I think that connects to how when they say inconvenient remnants, they're talking. It's referring to the modern day D clan. So
I
Luffy,
think
Dragon, Blackbeard. So when we see inconvenient remnants recall the promised day, they're recalling the promised day. They're waiting for Joy Boy Nika to return. They're waiting for the D clan's dream and their mission to be accomplished. And I think like that to me, it like holds a lot more precedence than like Blackbeard. And I feel like maybe sometimes I've been guilty of this too because I've done a lot of videos on Blackbeard's relation to Zebek. But it like I feel like when we focus too much on Zebek, we take away from the point that Blackbeard is a D clan member. So just that off the bat will make him very notorious, and he's gonna accomplish a lot of things in the world.
well they're both
So
decent, but yeah.
my only question to you three, Bill, is what if the D clan is split between the Half Moon, which would be the Monkey D family, which would be Kong, which would be anybody as a D that you see as positive, and then a division between the Teach and the Zebek family.
I mean that's possible, but I wonder
What
like
if they are the full moon?
Yeah,
I
I know somebody
dude
who
is
thinks that
flying up
too,
the full
similar
moon.
to that.
yeah, so here's my thing is like I feel like the D clan would probably be more cohesive than like this grand chasm of like good versus evil, because like the D clan seems to be like all these different races. They all like most likely had a connection to Joy Boy. He was sailing and he was making this D clan. All of his remnants. It almost seems weird that like there would be
Yes,
this divide within the D clan. I thought like they were cohesive. Excuse me,
absolutely.
cohesive one. So maybe the
So
idea isn't that Blackbeard is like from the evil half of the D clan. Maybe we're focusing on evil too much, and it's more so like Blackbeard's a part of the D clan, but he focuses on chaos. Maybe there
Guys,
doesn't
remember,
have to be like a division.
remember with the clan,
well
they can always nominate people. They can induct people. Sadi Bo. What if Blackbeard was inducted by somebody we haven't met yet? What if that's Blackbeard's mentor? What if that's Blackbeard's backstory? What if that's Blackbeard's savior? He was an orphan at one point.
I
It,
don't think so, but well,
it,
here's an interesting thing. Blackbeard as a kid was drawn crying under a crescent moon. But but no, I think like it comes down to like Emu said where over the over time they've forgotten what the D means. They don't remember the purpose of why they're the D clan, what they're fighting for. They don't remember that anymore. It was lost in time. So I think that's a thing to note. But another thing too, I think when it talks about the remnants, I think that yeah, it's the D clan, but I also think it's more than that. Because we know that Emu tried to mass extinct many races, including the Lunarians, the Shandians, the Three-Eyed Tribe, all these people. And there was a panel not long ago when it was
The
talking about
Dos and Dadas.
it brought up there was a panel not long ago, I don't remember where, but it showed Wiper. It was very recent, and it was all about how like these tribes have still lived on as an inconvenience to Emu and all these people. So I think it's not just the D clan, but it's all these races that survived that were not wanted to survive. Like
Threeville, will you flip the mural upside down for me?
yeah. Let me see. How do you do that? Rotate
Keep
back.
going, SL. I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going. You were making a very good
that
point.
was pretty much the gist of it. I do have more about Blackbeard though, because my friend had like a really big Blackbeard theory that spread around, but
I just think embracing the mural is so interesting to me because it seems like this is something Oda would do. This is a pirate manga, right? And the biggest thing about pirates is finding treasure. And finding treasure, you need a map, you need something to go off of. It has a gimmick, you got to flip it, reverse it. So I definitely think that the mural upside down, it says something to me.
Yeah, I think that would be really creative. Yeah. Because we're presented with the mural like the other way, like the normal way, like flipping a page, but like it would be within Oda's nature to have us fooled into us and have us look at it the wrong way. We're not looking at it the right way for the deeper truth. Yeah, I like that.
So so I have some connections and they're only borderline and baseline. This is just going off me looking at the mural that you're putting up right now. The robot upside down could be the General Frankie in the future.
Yeah.
Luffy upside down, that's Luffy. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
then the demon with the fire with the sun in the hand who's fighting the sun god, that could easily be Blackbeard.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's so many ways to interpret this mural. Oda really outdid himself with this.
Yeah.
This might be his greatest panel ever.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't spoken too much on the wings that this monster has, which most people understood as emu. I never realized that he has wings on him. That's interesting.
That could be the
Well,
Blackbeard
some
crew. That
people,
could be the wings of the Demon King or the Devil King.
Yeah.
yeah, I honestly think. Well, okay, my friend had a really good Blackbeard theory that I helped him on a lot because me and him clashed a lot, and it kind of like made the theory way better because like I scrutinized it a lot to where it started to make a lot more sense. And because like originally my idea was like, based on the narrative, like with Emu and everything, that Emu is probably the final villain, and there's still a good chance that Emu is, but there's also a decent chance that Blackbeard will end up usurping Emu, and like Luffy will be like the successful Roger, where Blackbeard will be like the successful Rocks. And then, and in the end, they still have to have their final fight, and obviously Luffy's gonna win. But like for a season, there'll be a time of pure chaos and anarchy if Blackbeard takes over because he'll rule with a different, instead of ruling from the shadows like a coward like Emu and in the darkness, he'll rule in the light and he'll just turn the world into a worldwide Hachinosu, worldwide chaos. And we even had like foreshadowing with Impel Down, which is like randomly inserted because I definitely think there's going to be another Impel break. But I think it's even more foreshadowing because the pirates were like, yeah, the world government has had its time. It's time for our time, and like they're like getting hyped up, like it's time for us to take over, like and stuff like
And
that.
so
Like,
I agree. I
I think
100% think
foreshadowing.
there's going to be an info break, brother. I absolutely agree with you on that point. I
I think
definitely
that,
think Doflamingo is getting out. I
Hmm.
definitely think there's a slim chance we may see Magellan do something worth notice. Could be saving Doflamingo's life. I seriously think Doflamingo is going to tie to the end of this story. He's
I
going
think
to
that
be involved.
Doflamingo, yeah, because we keep seeing Doflamingo too, and like in Impel Down, reading the newspapers, laughing and stuff. I think that Weevil and Doflamingo will both join Cross Guild. And another thing too with Weevil, Otis said that we were eventually going to see his power, and we never saw it. Like all that happened was he got off screen with Greenville and got captured and taken to Impel Down. So if we're going to see his power, that means at some point he's going to have to get free. So I've been saying it for a long time. I believed Weevil. I predicted that he was going to be the only warlord to get captured. So and he was captured. So already half of my idea has come true. So we're just gonna have to see. But yeah, I think that Perona, Moria, Weevil, and Doflamingo all join Cross Guild. And once all of them join, then Cross Guild will be like a full-fledged Yonko organization. Like it'll have all the power of any Yonko organization ever has.
All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up here, boys.
All right, man.
It's
Good
been
talks.
a great talk with the boy SL, with the boy Smokey, everyone in chat. This was a great idea. I think talking about the official chapter allowed us to dive a little bit deeper into the content of the story, and then of course having people in open mic was great. So maybe this could be a format we try again, because as you guys know, we've only done I think like 2 or 3 streams open mic. So, and we were always trying to like figure out the best way to do it so it's not like too hectic, and you know everyone gets to say their piece and all that kind of stuff. I think I like this format, and I think this is a great stream, guys. I think we'll try to stick with this, so next Sunday we could do the same thing. But of course, if you guys are interested in spoilers, we're gonna go live Tuesday and Wednesday for long summary, short summary. And I actually saw that Read On just started posting hints for those of you that care about spoiler hints. But I just want to thank everyone for being here, especially the fact that the stream crashed twice. This is our 3rd time trying to do this stream today. Pretty bad, but we had lots of support, lots of super chats and donations from Smokey, Simon, L, and others. I just want to thank you all. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys here soon. I wish everyone a beautiful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. And I'll let SL and Mr. Smokey have the final word. Just a final thought, you know, a final goodbye.
Go ahead, SO. I'll let you go first.
I was gonna say you go first, but I don't have nothing to say.
Nah. They call me Gentleman Young VP. I got a monocle and a top hat.
They call you
After
Smokey
you
Gabong.
get served.
Smokey, come on. All right, I'll be Silver's Rayleigh. That's my boy.
We got Rayleigh. We got Smokey Gabong.
Gabong. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I put you in the spotlight. Look, look,
My
chat,
bad, I
chat,
didn't mean to put
chat.
you
He
in the
wishes you
spotlight.
guys a great day. All right. He's a little nervous. He's a
go.
little shy.
I got you. Go ahead and throw the lob to me. Here's what I'm going to say is, like I was telling you in Threeville when we spoke earlier, when we were messaging each other, at this point, I'm never taking anything Otis says at face value. I don't care if it's an interview, an SBS. He's got to show it, and he's got to prove it in the manga thus far. Because it's ridiculous. But he is the GOAT. So, at the end of the day, all I can say is question everything you hear.
100%. Never. There's a old Russian proverb. It goes, "Never trust Oda." It's an old Russian proverb. Live with that, and you'll have much better theories. Trust me. Whatever Oda says, just believe the opposite, basically.
True. You'd be lying.
He be lying, bro. But chat, with that, I wish everyone here a nice morning, day, or night, wherever you are, wherever you guys are. God bless all of you. May you guys live in peace, a lot of inner peace, love, resilience, courage, bravery, wisdom. I hope you guys build your relationship with God, especially the true God. Go to church, guys. Start doing your research. I know we all feel empty sometimes in life. We feel like there's this void in our soul, in our heart. There's only one answer for that, and I think it's God. I don't think it's drugs, sex, money, and all of this other pointless stuff that's just like fleeting passions, fleeting desires. Guys, grow your relationship with God. Even if you have to do it in your own way, that's better than nothing. But I wish you guys the best. I love you guys greatly.